Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my first and probably last full-length guide video. This is a beginner guide meant to help new players set a foundation for builds to tackle Colossals in their first few hours of the game. Now, the full setup to get these builds started will take about 2 hours from start of game to the actual build itself. But once you get the builds going, they will be good to go until you can complete the story with either one of them or both of them. They'll also be good for taking out the Coliseum and just general play. After I finish tying up a couple of loose ends on some more videos, I will be doing individual build video showcases for each Colossus. But for now, the two in this guide should handle just about everything pretty efficiently. If you want to skip ahead to the actual build itself, maybe you're already a couple hours into the game and you don't need the step-by-step to get where you need to be, skip to 28:45 in the video and you'll get where you need to go. Now, for those of you that are just starting out, when you start the game, you're going to have to choose between two arsenals, a lightweight and a medium weight. But if you go to the right here in the back, you have a third option of a heavyweight that's hidden behind this room. Now, one thing that all three of these have in common is that they're dog shit. They're the worst. All three of these are the worst arsenals in the game. That's not some secret superpower back there. That's just a neat little Easter egg. All of these are dog water arsenals, so just pick whichever one you prefer. I picked the fast one because the faster I go, the faster I can get the fuck out of this and get a better mech. Now, once you get into your arsenal, just blaze through the story and get into the fort to get started on the actual game.
This terminal more often than it's hate, so it seems like.
Once you get into the hangar, set up your weapons any kind of way you want. I do highly recommend that you take at least one melee weapon with you, though, because melee in the early game is much more powerful than the firearms. However, if you have the DLCs or pre-order bonuses for the game, the rare weapons that they have are a great early start. They are just reskins of some other weapons that you're going to get like 20 minutes from now, but they will save you a good 20 minutes of farming if you already have them, and they are worth equipping. Now, once you get your arsenal set up, you're going to want to assert your dominance on Ash by repeatedly and forcefully swinging your big green dick right across his face.
You won't get away with that! Am I so—
Wow, that was awesome!
Yeah, I know. After beating the brakes off of Ash, you're going to want to proceed to the request for byway security mission to take out some strays that are bothering the byway. This will be your first byway unlock, and the area that you unlock is going to be a great area to travel back and forth to collect rare arsenal parts and weapons to flesh out your build before freeing Raven. Now, once you beat these strays, you don't want to just loot them immediately as you inspect them. Take a look at them, back out, then take a look at the next one. That way you make sure not to double up. So this one, for example, has a left and a right arm. whereas this one has just a right arm. So if I'd taken the right arm from the first one, I would have been shit out of luck for getting out of the Anemos left arm quickly. Now I am 3 out of 5 parts away from getting out of the Anemos and into a full build. You can stay in this area. You can travel around this area, take out the strays and the Axiom soldiers that are in the area, and get more of these parts until you have a full arsenal suit. Once you have a full arsenal suit, you're going to proceed through the main story and rescue Raven, and then that's going to lead you directly into the Grausam boss fight. This is probably going to be the longest boss fight that you have until you fight Zeracor or Eclipse in post game. Now there is a supply base to the left here that you can use to change your gear out. I opted to skip that and just see how this fight went with dual Ravens, dual common machine guns. Now this is on normal mode. If you fight him on story using the same gear that I am, you'll finish him off much faster. But it takes about 3 minutes for me to kill him just using the machine guns.
Don't go overboard.
I'm still in this.
We've got this. The enemy's exhausted. Now's our chance. Don't go overboard. We're still good, right? We've got this.
I'm still in this. All right. I'm still in this.
Gotta push on through.
Run out.
We're still good, right? We've got this. Can't let you show me up. Clean that up nicely.
What the hell's going on?
Now, after you defeat Grausam, unless he has a really good lance blueprint and you like that lance, you're going to want to take his compound factor because his compound factor has the Harvester Scythe skill, and that's a huge early game unlock for both farming and taking out the Coliseum. Probably the best early game skill that you can grab. If you decide you want to grab his Great Horn instead, you can do that, but you'll have to go back into the simulator and fight him again to get that factor. Now, at this point in the story, just after the Grausam fight, which is about, I think it's chapter 11, you should have all of this gear. All of this is obtainable in the mountains right at the start of the game from strays and Axiom soldiers. Sadly, Axiom soldiers are not on the drop list menu, so you can't see some of the drops that they give you, but they're one of the easiest sources of the Riddell laser sword, which is the dual swords that I'm using. The rest of these arsenal parts can be found on strays, with exception of um, the general arsenal parts, which are found on some Axiom soldiers. So you can run through and collect these fairly easily. This is maybe an hour into the story, hour and a half. And once you get to this point, you are pretty much ready to go into the forest. You've got everything you need to get going into the forest, and the forest is where you unlock the last part of the build. Now, you do not need to use any specific parts as long as your basic defense is over 800 and your physical and laser defense are both either neutral or in the positives. You don't want any negative defenses. That's the worst thing that you can do in the early game, especially up against Colossi, is have negative defenses. So just make sure that your physical and laser defense are at the very, very least at 0, preferably around 200, and you're going to be good. The other thing that you want to look for is making sure your memory capacity can handle the weapons that you want to load out with. You don't have to use the same weapons that I'm using, but you do want to have a laser blade. That's the one thing I highly recommend, because with the laser blade you get the Harvester Scythe. And the Harvester Scythe, as I said earlier, is incredibly powerful early game for farming and for taking out the Coliseum. Against small targets it does great. Against large targets it does well, but it really excels at starting fights with like strays and things like that and finishing them off quickly to speed up the farming process. Now, once you get everything sorted, you're going to want to unlock the Coliseum. There's going to be a mission in the mission screen of the console here that you're going to do. Complete this mission, which is just directing you to the Coliseum here, and you're going to want to clear all the Coliseum battles all the way up to rank 8. Once you do that, you're going to have all of the scrap and credits you need to fully flesh out your build, upgrade your lab, upgrade your shop so that you can buy better gear. This is the most straightforward way to get the scrap and credits you need. It takes like 20 to 30 minutes depending on how good you are, and what I did all this in normal difficulty. If you drop it down to story, it's probably even quicker. This will get you all of the scrap and credits that you need to get everything going. Now, with the sole exception of the rank 12 fighter, all the way up until rank 8, you can use the same strategy for taking out all of the Coliseum goers. They are very susceptible to being staggered by melee weapons. You can use firearms, and it will work. If you want to use firearms, it's totally okay, but it's not as efficient to me, so I don't typically use them. If you want to use machine guns would probably be better, machine guns and shotguns, because they all like to be pretty close to you. But I find the melee weapons tend to be a lot better, and with the Harvester Scythe, you kind of have a ranged option as well, and it really hits super, super hard.
done yet!
Once you start getting into the top 15, you're going to want to start doing like proper combos. If you're dual wielding, that's going to be 2 left hand strikes, 2 right hand strikes, and a cross slash, or 2 right hand, 2 left hand. Now, if you notice, whenever I start my combo, my damage is in the mid 30s to mid 40s. But then whenever I do my next combo, it's in the 50s. Now, the reason for that is in between combos, I back up and then I continue my strike again. So I end the combo, I back up, and then I rush back in. This resets this puts me right in the Riddell laser blade's critical range. Its crit window is like, it starts at 6 or 7 meters. So whenever I back up like that, I put myself in the crit range and maximize the damage of my combos. Depending on the weapon you use, this will be different for you, but a lot of the early game weapons have similar crit windows. So you can set it up to where you can do your full 5-hit combo, jet back, reset your crit window, and keep your combo flow going with constant crits for maximum damage. Now, Avar is kind of the rule breaker for this build. He seems to be specifically designed to stop this exact sort of shenanigan. He's basically stagger proof. Your basic hits don't stagger him. He's got the guard particle armament, so he's invincible to a lot of hits. And yeah, he's just a really tanky son of a bitch overall. Now, one good thing is the Harvester Scythe will still stagger him and send him flying back, and you can even use it to bat his missiles out of the air. So if he sends his missiles at you, you can just use the Harvester Scythe to just knock them all out of the air. So there is still some good for the build there, but this is the one guy that I would recommend you probably want to use firearms for. And based on the damage the laser weapons were doing, I would say he's probably going to be better off tackled with high basic damage or high physical damage weapons. But you can still get it done with this same build, it's just a slog.
I'm still in this. Not like this. All right. Not like this. Eat this. I'm still in this. All right. Oh no.
Now, Pistos is not as difficult as Avar is, but he can surprise you. See, Pistos has a shield that he likes to hide behind, and he's also got the assault particle armament. So he'll hide behind the shield while constantly shooting you with 3 projectiles, and it does a surprising amount of damage. He seems like he's impervious and that you need to do something else, but if you stay aggressive, you can break his shield, and once his shield is broken, he takes a ton of damage compared to other guys. The individual hits do a lot to him. So just stay super aggressive. Do the same thing as you would with the beginning Coliseums, and you'll be fine with him as well. If you have devotion, all the better. If you don't have devotion, probably do this in story mode, or try to build a tankier setup because he's not fast. He's not going to run away from you. So you could use tankier setups like maybe a Acropolis or something like that. And finally, the last one in the Coliseum that you can fight right now due to mercenary rank limits, she is probably the most comically ineffective fighter in the entirety of the Coliseum. The most joke character I have seen so far. The only thing this girl does is the best Beyblade impersonation she can. All she does is spray and pray. I've not seen her ever use any other skill. She's got a lance on her back, on her shoulder that she doesn't use at all. This is all she does. This entire fight is just spray and pray. It's so funny, but a super easy way to finish off the Coliseum.
Sovereign.
Now, once you've finished up the Coliseum as far as you can go, you're going to talk to Savetta here, and you can upgrade your shop. Do not use the shop additional equipment. That's just for items. Do shop additional equipment 1. That's for weapons and armor. When you upgrade that 1, it'll let you buy blue weapons and armor. Now, you can also upgrade your lab a couple of times to increase the amount of factors you can carry, which is very helpful. There's not much else that's going to be very helpful immediately, other than maybe restoration if you want to go for beacons early, because beacons are a great way to get rare gear right at the start. But once you get your shop upgraded, you can come talk to this guy, and now any pieces that you might be missing for a set that you really want, you can just buy it outright, whether that be armor or weapons. He's got all of the early game rares available in the shop now, so you can just buy everything you need. That also includes shoulder mounted weapons and also auxiliaries like the radar jammer, which is very helpful for Legion. The Coliseum also rewards you with credits, so you're going to have enough money to basically buy whatever you want, set up a couple of builds if you want, a couple different loadouts if you want to. Not going to be a problem. You've got 200,000 credits to play with. I do recommend grabbing a Songbird for the glitter cannon farm in the forest later. but it's not necessary. But it will make things a lot faster if you grab one. You can probably grab one from the strays found in the forest, early, right at the beginning of the forest. But if you can't, just grab one from the shop. Now, speaking of the forest, before you unlock the forest, you've got to fight Legion. He's going to be your next boss up very quickly in the main story, so just progress through the story to fight him. He spawns clones via his Mirage skill that are incredibly annoying, but they're susceptible to the jamming status effect. If you use jamming on him, his clones stop moving, and he's the only one able to move. So he's very easy to spot. It also changes his color. So these guys are all solid red, but he looks more like his normal purple self. So you can more easily spot him, not just from him moving, but also his color. And this makes it easy for you to target him and go after him. Shout out to Abyss Phantom 6786 for telling me about this. I did not know that jamming did anything until they told me, so props to them. Now, once you do defeat Legion, you're immediately going to have access to the byway that allows you into the forest. And right in the beginning of the forest, you'll be able to find Seamos. Now, Seamos dropped the glitter cannon, which is the laser cannon that is the focal point of the early game build. So as soon as you get this part, that's it. You've got everything you need to make this build functional, assuming you've got some laser rifles from the desert. If not, you can get laser rifles in this same area from the strays and the Axiom as well. There's also another monster that spawns with the Seamos called the Quall. And the Quall drop Auxo legs. Auxo legs are lightweight, highly mobile legs with probably the best jump performance and almost certainly the best femto capacity of any legs you can get. If you want a lightweight leg with a ton of femto, which will allow you to abuse the hell out of skills, this is a good one to go for too. Now, both of these monsters, both of these immortals, have a low chance to drop loot, but when they drop loot, it's very common for them both to have the item that you're looking for on them. So if you use a bow or a knife, you can probably clear this, get both of the parts you need in just a couple of minutes. If you use a knife with the Helm Splitter ability, they die very quickly, assuming Helm Splitter doesn't bug and do no damage at all whenever you drop down on them. So good way to farm them efficiently. Now you don't need to worry about using knives or bows when farming strays or Axiom because they will always drop their loot. But for regular immortals, knives increase the chance that their body persists after you kill them and can loot them at all. If you don't use a bow or a knife on the final kill, the chances of their body just disappearing is pretty high, unfortunately. And now for what you've been waiting for, the build itself. Now, for the energy variant of the build, Glitter Cannon is the focus point because Glitter Cannon has a high ammo pool, high attribute DPS, and high stagger per second for the type of weapon that it is as well, making it a really good choice for mechanical enemies like Gunfort, Dreadnought, and biomechanical enemies like Insania Rex. The secondary weapons to pair it up with, you can use melee or rifles, or not rifles, but firearms in general. I like the dual-wielded laser rifles, but you can also use a charged laser rifle, or you can use machine guns if you really want to, though if you're going to use physical projectiles, you're pretty much going to have to focus on weak points for a lot of the enemies, like Gunfort, for example, is not going to be as affected by physical weapons as he is going to be by laser weapons, but you can still do that. But for this build, I recommend the Glitter Cannon and dual energy rifles, or a single high power energy rifle like the Stargazer. Either one of those setups will work, but the Glitter Cannon is the focal point of this build. I have no input for the arsenal itself. Use whatever you got. That's not a common piece. For now, that's fine. As long as it's got neutral or higher defenses and it's got the memory to hold the build you want, you're good to go. That's pretty much all you really need. Now, before I discuss before I showcase the energy build, I want to talk a little bit about the physical variant of the build. Now, this is an all projectile version of the energy build that you can build before you reach the forest and even before you fight Legion. And this is an alternative option to fighting enemies like Gunfort without using the lasers. Now, they're not as efficient as taking them on with glitter cannon setup, but it is still very, very viable and probably going to shock you if you've never tried this before. The trick to making this one work, though, is utilizing the trap items. No one seems to be giving these trap items the credit that they deserve. Now, Gunfort has three primary weaknesses. Number one is that he's weak to laser attribute damage, very, very susceptible to it. Number two is that he's susceptible to being staggered, and when he's staggered for a long time. And number three, he's very easily stunned, and when he's stunned for a long time. So the stun trap is a huge part of making this build nearly as effective as the laser build, just with an extra step. So if you don't want to worry about fussing over getting the glitter cannon, you can just do this instead. And I'm going to show you exactly how this works before I showcase the glitter cannon build. I'm going to start with a fire trap just to get some extra damage off on him, and then I'm going to follow up immediately with a stun trap to stun him. And once he's stunned, that's it for him. His life is over. Even though he is resistant to physical attacks, weak points don't care about what attributes you use, not nearly so much as the rest of the body does.
Press on toward victory.
Get lost!
Nicely done. I'm impressed.
Now, for the laser variant of the build, I did decide to swap to Auxo legs because I really didn't like the heavyweight legs that I was using. I wanted something a little more mobile, but it caused memory consumption issues, so I had to swap around a little bit. Instead of using dual laser rifles, I had to use a single stargazer, which is a little bit less damage output than the dual laser rifles, but still very, very, very effective. Now, the benefit of this build is that due to the laser attribute doing enhanced damage and impact to the Gunfort, he stays staggered and down long enough that you don't need to worry about stunning him at all. You can just straight up just go ham on him.
Here it comes! Be careful! We've got this! The enemy's exhausted. Never can!
Press on toward victory.
And And that's going to do it for this beginner guide. I hope it was helpful. Hope you had fun watching it, and I hope you learned something. My next videos will showcase individual builds to maximize efficacy for each boss in the game. I'm going to do an individual video for each boss, and I'll probably split it up into early game, mid game, and end game builds so that there's an accessible option for everybody. But yep, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.